Guys, it is April the 6th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. I hope everybody's been having a great weekend. If you guys watched the live that I did yesterday or the video that I did on Friday, I talked about that I was going to bring my wife back on, and it's been quite some time since the last time that she came on the channel. I think it's basically been a year since the last time she came on here. But I've been talking with her a lot here recently, and telling her that I think it'd be important to bring her back on again. And I'm not promising that she's going to be on here every single week. She is an accountant, and she's in tax season still, which is about to be over here shortly. But I don't want to stress her out. She does have a lot of other things to do out here on the farm with her animals, and she's gotten kind of behind with all that stuff because of tax season. So I'm not going to be able to bring her on every single week, but I can probably get her on here every other week or so. So I probably won't have her back on next week, but maybe the week after, so that we can just have conversations on here. And like I said, I think that it serves a purpose for the individuals that are here on the channel, that are here because they have a loved one that is dealing with AUD or any kind of addiction or whatever it may be. I think it's good to hear it from the other side, to get the other side of the story. And the thing is, there's always two sides to every story, and you guys always hear my side of the story with a lot of these things as well. And one of the things is that you often only hear my side of the stories, like when I got sick or when I ended up in the hospital. And I figured today that you could hear the other side of one of my stories that I've told here on the channel many, many times. And what that story is the time that I ended up in the hospital, the very first time that I was hospitalized with pancreatitis. And that's the time, I know you guys have heard me tell this story many, many, many times on here, but that's the time that I was throwing up the black coffee grinds and had to go to the emergency room. And the doctor came in and told me, we don't know if we're going to be able to keep you alive or not, but we're going to try our very best. And like I said, I just thought it'd be really neat to get to hear the story from her side and her perspective and what she saw. Because like I said, you're always hearing my side of the story and from my perspective. But I think it would be nice to hear it from her side and hear it from someone that isn't a drinker, doesn't have AUD, and what she thought when she saw me laying there in that bed, covered in vomit, the day that she came home. But like I said, I'm gonna hand over the microphone to her. She's not gonna come on camera. She's never come on camera before. My wife's kind of shy and just doesn't want to be on camera. It just isn't her thing. You guys have no idea how much I had to beg just to get her to come on here and just talk. It just isn't her deal, really, but I just think it's important to get it from her side. Because like I said, there are so many people here on the channel that, are here because they have a family member that's dealing with this. So once again, I'm going to bring her on here in just a second. Really quick before we get into that story today, I did want to just say really quick that I got a lot of questions yesterday in the live. A lot of people asking about Slayer and if I'd spoken with Slayer. And when I got asked that question yesterday, I hadn't spoken to him. We were supposed to talk on Friday night, but something happened, and we just didn't talk. And I ended up falling asleep that night because I got to bed pretty early. But I did speak with Slayer yesterday. After the live was over, I sent Slayer a text. I've got something in my eye. But I sent Slayer a text message yesterday after that live and was like, hey, man, had a lot of people asking about you in the live today, and just wanted to make sure you're okay. And Slayer said, yeah, he's fine. And we ended up actually speaking yesterday afternoon for quite some time. But Slayer's okay. Just wanted to say that so everybody can, don't worry about Slayer. He is just fine. And I'm sure he'll be making a video here very, very soon. So anyway, like I said, we're going to go ahead and talk about the time that I ended up in the hospital, after I'd been sick for quite a few days. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of just lead into the story. And then, like I said, I'm going to hand my wife the microphone, and I'm just going to let her tell it from her side and, what she saw. But I had pancreatitis not too long before this, and I don't remember how long it had been. Maybe a month before this time, I had an acute pancreatitis attack.
Well, we think you had never really been to the hospital before.
I had never been to the hospital before, but I mean, now that I know what it is, I know what it was. And I had stopped drinking for like, I don't know, maybe a week before that. Well, I relapsed again after that time that I'd got, that month before. I'd quit for like a week, and then I relapsed. Well, you guys know how it works when you relapse. Often when you relapse, you dive in head first, and you drink even more than you did before you even quit drinking. We have this idea like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm really going to do it. And I guess that was my mentality, is that I didn't drink for a week, so now I really got to dive in. And I binged hard for like 3 weeks leading up to this point where I got sick. And this one morning, I just woke up like every other morning. I went downstairs because I always went down there to throw up. And often I would wake up really early in the morning. I always woke up before my wife did. I'd wake up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, but I always woke up very early. And it's because I was so hungover. And I'd wake up, my heart would be beating. I was going through withdrawal. And I would wake up, and the first thing I would do was go make a drink or grab a beer or something. And I'd go downstairs and throw up, and then go sit on the toilet and have my morning hair of the dog to try to make the hangover go away. But this one morning, I walked downstairs, and I decided to walk out the side door because I didn't want to wake my wife up and her hear me throwing up. So I walked out the side door down here, and when I threw up, it was dark outside, but I could see that my throw up didn't look right. But I didn't pay too much attention to it. I just kind of let it be. Went back inside, and I think I tried to drink a beer that morning or something. And then a little bit later, I got sick again. Well, that time I threw up in the toilet, and when I looked, it was black coffee grinds. I had no idea what that was. Now, I had drank a Coca-Cola that morning, and I was thinking, this is from the Coca-Cola, because I was trying to settle my stomach. I was so nauseous that morning. And I thought that it was just from the Coke, and that's what I was throwing up. I had an empty stomach. There was just Coke in there. So I told myself that's what it is. It's just Coke. So I went about my day, and I don't know if I threw up anymore that day or not. I really don't remember. But what ended up happening is for like the next 4 days, I stayed sick. And I was having the classic pancreatitis symptoms. Extreme nausea, throwing up, fever, back was killing me, my stomach hurt so bad. At one point I was laying on the floor because my back hurt so bad, and I was thinking that would help it. I was laying in the bathtub basically nonstop through this whole period because my back and my stomach hurt so bad. I couldn't eat or drink anything. Anytime I drank anything, it came right back up. Nothing stayed down. I remember at one point during this period of time, I tried to eat some chicken noodle soup, and I threw that right up. And you guys know, when you're so sick that you can't even keep like chicken noodle soup down, and it's just broth, like nothing would stay in my stomach, and it came right back up. And what ended up happening is I got back to throwing up those black coffee grinds again. The whole time, I'm not telling my wife what's going on. I think at some point later...
At some point, I knew you were throwing up every day because you were staying home.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't go do anything. But I was kind of like, whatever about it, because it's not the first time you've had, like, you've gotten sick from drinking too much and stuff like that. Yeah. So it would happen probably every couple months that you'd get really sick, be throwing up and stuff like that. Then you quit drinking for a couple days, get better, cycle starts again, same thing. So I kind of just ignored you in the beginning, which is going to sound kind of harsh.
Yeah.
But it happened all the time, and I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe he deserves to feel like this because, he's been drinking so much, he made himself sick. So, but it went on for like 3 or 4 days that I knew about. And I would come home every day, and you'd be like, I threw up this much today. And still, like I said, it's going to sound kind of harsh, but I was kind of like, well, whatever, So it had to be like the 4th or 5th day when I was gone at work all day.
It was 4 days into it.
Yeah, and it was... I don't know. It's weird to me because I guess it happened in May, but I feel like it was dark when I got home for some reason.
It was dark.
Why?
I don't know.
I must have had like a kid thing or something because I feel.
Came home, it was dark.
Yeah, because I feel like I came home and it was dark and walked in the bedroom and there was throw up everywhere, and I don't even mean regular throw up. I mean black chunks of throw up everywhere, the whole coffee grind thing, which is pretty gross. If you imagine it in your head, it looked like someone was murdered in our bedroom. It was on the walls, it was on the floor, it was on the bed. It was, you have to go in our bedroom. We have like a closet that you go into, and then you go into the closet to the bathroom. It was all the way through all of those rooms. All the way, and I guess you had gotten to the point where you finally just couldn't make it to the bathroom anymore.
You had put a trash can.
Yeah, you did have drinks in there and a trash can.
Tell him what you did that morning.
Yeah, I did leave him because I knew he was feeling really bad. So that morning I had put like a trash can beside the bed and some drinks and a little cooler for him and stuff like that. But it was so bad that wasn't even doing it for him. I mean, he couldn't even get it into the trash can. It was just all over the place. If I could only describe it, was just a horrid murder scene. And it went from he's just sick again, he'll get over it, to, all right, he's like, I'm watching, he's like on death's door. I mean, I walked in the room, he's lifeless, he's pale. It took a whole nother turn in that 24-hour period, I would have to say, or the day that I was gone at work. It was a completely different thing than what I left, and I said, that's it. Like, you have to go to the hospital. I mean, nobody wants to go to the hospital. You know, we all are like, just let me take some Advil and let me drink some water and let me do this and we'll get over it. Or it's just a virus, it'll pass or whatever.
When you walked in the room, like, explain what, like, the bed looked like and, like, you know.
I mean, it's gross.
I mean, there was throw.
Yeah, there's throw up all around you, all over you.
The whole point of me wanting her to explain the graphic details of this is because I think this story is so important as a reason not to drink today. You know, if you're on the fence, you know, you've recently gotten sober and you're like, no, I think I can control it this time. And I know I talk about this every single day, but guys, this is the reality of this. I was just talking with Slayer about this just last night, about how I talk about this all the time, but it is the reality of this disease. We fool ourselves into thinking that we can have one drink again. And we'll often go, like I would tell my wife.
All the time. I'm just going to get like 3 beers. I'm just going to have a couple beers. And I do believe you believed that at the time.
Exactly. And I would believe it myself, you know. I'm only going to have a couple beers. And I'm only going to drink on Friday nights or on my date, because I would often be off on Mondays or Tuesdays or Monday and Tuesday. And I would tell myself, okay, only on Sunday night, because that's my Friday night. I'm only going to drink Friday night and Sunday night, and that's it. But it never worked out that way. And before you know it, I was right back at it. And like I said, I want to try to stop anyone from getting themselves back into that cycle again. And I think that this story is so important because no one wants to end up in this type of a situation. No one wants to end up with their wife or anybody walks in and finds them laying in the bed covered in blood, throw up. It's all over the floor. It's all over the walls. It's all over the bathroom. It's all the way going to the bathroom. It's all over you. I mean, I had throw up all over me. They had to change my clothes before I left the house.
Yeah, we did.
Because I had throw up all over me. So just kind of go into like that.
Yeah,
like,
we had your mom come over and get you because it was probably like 8:30 at night, a work night, a school night for the kids. I had just walked in the door and I saw him. I mean, my best example or description is at death's door. I feel like if he would have been there another 24 hours, he wouldn't have made it. And I was like, I got the kids, I got this, so I called his mom, or you called. I don't think you called. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think you did. And I said,
because I still didn't want to go to the hospital at this point.
No, because nobody wants to go to the hospital.
And that's another thing too, is that
I said, this is it.
I did not want to go to the hospital. Like, I was still telling them I'm not going to the hospital.
He was like,
I'm not going.
I think it'll turn around. And I'm like, no. Because at this point, if I let him lay there any longer, this is on me. Like, and that's truly how I felt. Like, if I let him, this is not going to turn out well. This is on me at this point. Like, I have to take control of this situation. So had your mom come get you, because our kids were, this is 3 years ago. Our kids were a bit younger at that point in time.
And we didn't want our kids knowing.
Yeah, I'm not taking all of them to the emergency room to watch this go down.
We did not want the children going to the hospital.
Had to hide them from our room.
We didn't want them even seeing what I looked like.
Yeah,
I'm covered in
horrible.
blood all over me.
And black stuff.
Yeah.
It was like black. It was
Do you
like.
remember the smell that it smelled like? Because it had this weird.
No,
the whole room smelled
I don't.
Like
I probably blocked it out. But if you ever watched a zombie movie or one of those movies where the people have like the black gunk, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That's what you looked like. I mean, it was
all running down my neck.
Yeah, it was horrible. And so his mom actually came and got him and took him, and then I did end up. I think we had to wait for our daughter to get home because she's a little bit older, and. She finally came home at some point. I got the kids done for the night, and I finally went up to the emergency room. And I got there. I didn't get there till like midnight, and you were still vomiting. They had you on fluids. They had you on nausea medication. Everybody in the hospital, he set the record for his blood sugar levels at 1,200, 1,400.
I thought it was 1,100.
It was something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It was
over 1,000.
He set the hospital record on
Did I really set the record?
You did, on high blood sugar.
Wow. Yeah, I remember the doctor saying I can't believe you're still even awake.
Yeah,
You're not in a coma
yeah. Right. But no, back to that, and I still feel kind of bad to this day for him going that long to get to that point. But at the same time, when you have somebody that goes through those cycles, they get sick. They get to the point where they get sick a lot.
Yeah, I would get sick probably every 3 months.
And you'd take a day or two, you'd recover, you'd hydrate.
Well, I'd take a week.
Well, yeah, but you'd be right back on it. So a lot of my thought process was, he'll get over it, not my problem. I've seen this before, and he did it to himself, so whatever. Until it got to that point where I was like, oh, this is bad. And, like I said, the only way I can describe it is it was a crime scene. Our bedroom was a crime scene. It took me days to get that room clean.
Oh, yeah, when I got home from the hospital, when I got home from the hospital, she had already cleaned everything up. I couldn't believe that she was able to get our carpet clean, because I'm not kidding. There was black throw up all over the carpet. It was all over the walls in our bathroom.
Pull all that
yeah,
carpet.
I didn't. The sheets were covered. Like, she got everything cleaned up. I can't even believe it. And and kudos to her for going in there and actually getting on her hands and knees, scrubbing up all that stuff.
Well, we all know I'm the throw up cleaner upper.
You are, but I couldn't have done that. There's just no way. I would have had to have called somebody out here.
Let me tell y'all, he
that.
can't clean up any throw up.
No.
Not the dog, not the kid, nothing.
My wife will tell you that one time our dog threw up on the carpet, but it was like poop throw up. Like, our dog had been eating its own poop or something, and it had thrown up all over the floor. And I
think he faked it.
But to be fair, I was like drunk. It was like 3:00 in the morning. We got woken up. Chewy threw up all over the floor one night, or he had diarrhea everywhere.
Oh, he used to get really
I tried to help my wife clean it up, and it's like in the middle of the night, and I was in there like,
yeah. I'm just throwing it out there that I think there were some fake noises that he made.
No, that's not fake.
So that I'd be like, just get out.
It is real. It's real. I cannot fake gagging like that, and I'm serious. It's coming up.
Yeah, but it's amazing what carpet cleaner
can do. I can't do it. Never been even changing the kids' diapers used to make me sick. I would wake up, she'd go to work, and I'm home with one of our kids, and I've had to change a diaper, and I was so hungover, and I would be in there gagging in the morning trying to change their diaper. It's just,
oh no.
Well, I'm just saying, you're already nauseous, and then you've got these poopy diapers, and then especially when they have really runny poop, and then you're trying to clean it up, and it's in every single little fat crack and
one
crevice.
One of our kids
and it's
threw up in his mouth one time.
Oh yeah, they did. My daughter had stayed.
Little.
My daughter was sick. She was a baby.
Yeah,
and
she was spit up.
Yep, but my wife wanted to tell me goodbye one morning. My daughter was laying on my chest because she was sick. She had been throwing up, and My daughter picked her head up, and I was like speaking to my wife, like, bye, I'll see you later. And she just puked right, like her face was right across from mine, and she threw it right in my mouth. Did I throw up out of that?
No, you did not.
Sorry for all the throw up talk, guys. But we were talking about it, so.
Yeah, it was on subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't take throw up. But
It's kind of like going over to my parents' house. We can't get 5 minutes into dinner without somebody talking about poop. But there's so many people in my family that are in the medical field. So the subject of some blood or something or poop comes up in every conversation.
But the point to the story is you got really sick.
Yeah, very, very sick.
Yes. I think we can all say I saved his life.
Anyway. But
but he really was.
Yeah.
You were really sick. And I knew when I saw you that I was like, he won't make it if he does. Like, this is bad. You know how you go from that point to where you go, oh, this is bad, to this is really bad. Yeah, and it was really bad. And I guess.
Almost lost my life.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess you would have bled to death. I mean, that's probably what the outcome could have been, if not for all the other things. Like, I've heard of people's like pancreas exploding basically on itself, your blood sugar, all those things could have put you in a coma. And I think that was because he was so dehydrated. He hadn't kept anything down for like probably almost a week. So, I think that just comes with the territory of dehydration. But obviously there was internal bleeding and stuff like that. And he had to have blood transfusions, packets of blood. Yeah, so
and I was in a medical detox when I was in the hospital too, and like that first week, you couldn't understand anything else.
Oh, he was so loopy. You were so loopy from it all, and I kept telling them, I was like, he hasn't drank for like a week anyway, because he couldn't, but they still have to do, I guess, what they have to do. Yeah, and I was like, I think this is adding to it, but no, that was your life-changing moment.
And that was the moment that that was like, I made up my mind after that I was not going back to drinking ever again. Like I just couldn't. And I thought that getting out of the hospital that time that I was out of the wood, completely out of the woods with it, because they basically told me, you just had an acute pancreatitis attack. Your liver actually looks okay.
You got some diabetes.
I found I had diabetes, but I thought, wow, I've got diabetes and don't ever drink again, and you won't get pancreatitis. And then 4 months later, I was back in the hospital again with pancreatitis, and I almost lost my life that time, like for real.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story, and maybe we'll tell that the next time. But like I said, guys, I just wanted to hop on here today and bring my wife on, and like I said, hear her side of that story, because we often do get those thoughts, and we start thinking, just today, or just tomorrow, or whatever it is, or you're just driving on your way home from work, or you had to run to the store and just pick up some bread and some eggs, and all of a sudden that thought enters your mind, and you start to think to yourself, no one will ever find out about this. I can go ahead and run by that liquor store really fast and just grab a pint, and I can have just 2 drinks, and no one will ever know. It doesn't work that way. And before you know it, you're right back in it again. People are coming home, finding you passed out in the bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You're laying in the bed drinking all day again. Your life is falling completely apart. You can't drive anywhere because you're always intoxicated. Your bank account's drained because you drank all of your money away. You're back smoking cigarettes again, because you guys know if you're a smoker, there is no drinking and not smoking. The two of those go hand in hand, and it's like peas and carrots. And if you've quit drinking and quit smoking, you really want to go back to that again? High blood pressure. Every time you go to the doctor, they tell you to go to the emergency room because your blood pressure's so high.
Oh, you used to hate going to the doctor, like for the flu or something, because they'd always talk about how high your blood pressure was.
Yeah, I've talked about it. They would tell me to go to the emergency room every time. Yeah. But guys, like I said, and all we have to do is just stay sober. Just don't go back to it. Don't let your addict mind fool you and trick you into thinking that this time you can control it, because it's wrong and you can't. And that is just the point blank period end of it. We cannot control our drinking, because if you could, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. And it's just that simple. You got a problem, and it's been a problem. And if you've quit, Well, I go back. Normal people, normal drinkers, don't sit around thinking about drinking alcohol all day long. They just don't. You know, normal people don't keep looking at their watch throughout the day to see if it's 5 o'clock yet because they're ready to go get that drink. Normal people don't think about drinking all day. Normal people don't get off work and get smashed blackout drunk every single night when they get off of work. Normal people don't need alcohol to fall asleep. Normal people don't need the hair of the dog just to get through their day. If you do any of those things or have any of those problems, you know what I'm talking about, and you've gotten sober, forget about it. Keep living your sober life. It might not be, you know, rainbows and sunshine right now, but it does get better. And our lives improve so much. And I mean, just like my wife will tell you, like, I'm a totally different person than I used to be.
You are. And it hasn't been easy because you've had to relearn things. Yeah. I've had to relearn things.
Yeah. My wife still is still trying to get used to me being sober. She's not used to it. You know, I mean, it's been 3 years at this point, but still, I mean, we've been together since we were teenagers, and I drank the whole entire time, and here I am sober now. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. Let alone my wife, she can't figure out who I am because I don't even know who I am right now. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's taken a lot of time. You know, I'm almost 3 years into this, and I'm still learning at this point. So don't beat yourself up if you haven't figured it out yet. I haven't figured it out yet, and a lot of us haven't. Some people have, but I'm still trying to figure out who am I, because I lived this different persona for 30-something years. I was a complete different 30 years. I was portraying someone that I really wasn't. I pretended to be someone that I wasn't. And now here I am living the sober life, and it's all new to me. But anyway, guys, like I said, if you do drive by that liquor store today, keep going. If you go into the gas station, you see that cooler sitting right there beside the register, just keep moving. Let's stay sober today. I know you can do it, and I believe in you. If you'd like to help support the channel, please go to the link below. It'll be right up here. If I can get my finger, it's right there. So the link will be right here at the bottom. You can go to the description box, click on the description box, and then right at the very top is the link for the Buy Me a Coffee. If you click that link, it takes you directly to the page, and you can donate however much you want. It allows me to do these videos every single day and continue to do this, and you know, I can focus all of my attention on doing just this. Really quick, I'm gonna let my wife hop on here really fast and talk to you guys about the merch, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys to have a great day. I love y'all so much, and until tomorrow, I will see y'all then.
So we sold out on the hats in a day and a half, I think, which he said we would. So, and we did. So I have placed an order for more hats, and sometimes they take about a week to get in, but I have placed another order, so we'll have hats again soon. I'm sure he'll let y'all know as soon as they're up again. If you buy 2 or more items, I make sure to throw in a free keychain with those. We also have a promotion on there. You'll see it in the products where like you buy 2, you get 10% off, 3, you get another percentage off. I think if you get 4, you get 20% off. But that adds up too. And we appreciate everything y'all have done for us. We're super excited about the hats. I think they're a big hit. And we have another idea in the works that's kind of rolling that I think is going to be really, really neat. Yeah. For everybody to be more of a helpful thing than just merch. Yeah. But I think that'll be cool. But no, like he said, thank y'all. God bless. Have a good Sunday.
All right. See you later, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye.